Hi guys, welcome to the Intuit YouTube channel. I am Debbie Dubois.
And I'm Kimberly Arya, the creator of the Intuit Oracle family of cards, tarot cards and oracles. And right now we're just going to take a look at the upcoming lunar eclipse that is a kind of exciting one because first of all, it's in the sign of Sagittarius, which is Debbie's sun sign.
Me.
And we're going to kind of take a look at how some of the energies around this eclipse will affect us on a very real world application, because you know that lunar eclipse energies are like all this higher vibrational stuff, and a lot of stuff is happening in higher realms with that. But we want to see how does that play out in a very real world, physical, what you're likely to see some things transpire in your actual real life because of this eclipse.
Right. So we are going to be using the Zodiac 108. Which is really my go-to deck. I don't know about you, Kimberly, but it's my go-to deck when we're looking at tangible, real-life situations. So anyways, you're going to want to stick around.
I've been waiting here for you since the beginning of this universe. You know the world is fading. There's a secret power hidden in your soul. Don't be afraid to use it, 'cause you're the one. You're the one. You're the one. You're the one.
Welcome back, everybody. Are you ready, Kimberly? We're going to take a look at
The Zodiac 108 and the lunar eclipse is coming up on May 26th. So, you know, we were talking before we started this. We're like, how are we going to take a look at lunar eclipse energies using the Zodiac 108? Because usually when people do readings about an eclipse, they're doing more from the spiritual side, which we would be using the Intuit Oracle. But right now we're wanting to use the Zodiac 108. And I was like, well, why don't we actually just approach it from, you know, the fact that this is a deck that has its strongest voice when you're taking a look at how do things play out in a very physical, grounded way. And hey,
right.
you know what better way than to look at these higher energies that we know are affecting certain areas of our lives on a
Right.
spiritual plane? How is that going to likely manifest in a physical place?
Yeah.
So,
Ooh.
I haven't done a lot. I actually haven't been watching other videos or reading anything yet about this eclipse. All I really know about it is a supermoon, which makes it even more powerful. It is a
Right.
full lunar eclipse. In fact, it'll be visible from my end of the country. Anybody on the western half of the United States, or actually not just half, but probably, you know, just the western states and Alaska and Hawaii will be able to see it if they get up early in the morning. Of course, it
Right.
lasts for about 4 hours. And so, but supermoon, extra powerful. Lunar eclipses always magnify the energy of a full moon.
Right.
So anything that has to do with that. And then as far as the areas, I was just briefly looking at something here to just quickly remind myself, refresh my memory. The areas in your life that Sagittarius is, let me pull this up here. They're about the seeker, expansion, traveling, adventure, exploration, and also like truth, the seeker out after truth. And I really feel that that actually has could have some very strong implications, not only in people's personal lives right now, but on a global scale. As right now, I think people are really wanting truth to come forward more than ever before.
So the first card that I got is the cabin. And I say that's the first card. That's my central card. I like to pull 5 cards, sometimes 3 cards. In this case, it turned out to be 5 cards. And so in this energy of the cabin, during this period of time, I do feel that we are still in a powerful position of going within, of being a little bit detached from circumstances around us. And we have like an ability right now to kind of disengage from, I want to say, drama, or separate ourselves out from the collective, and to be able to be in a space of seclusion. Now, I also got right with that the beehive. Okay. And so that means to me that along with that cabin during that period of time, we are going to be seeing ourselves quite busy internally or working on something that means something to us. In other words, we might be all secluded off by ourselves, but we're working towards something that we're very dedicated to. We're being very diligent and persistent about it, and we have a great deal of tireless stamina to use that energy specifically on our own internal thing that's important. And the chocolate is right there along with that, with the beehive. And to
Chocolate and
me,
honey. A lot of good
yeah.
sweet stuff there.
Yes. Well, it's kind of like, yeah, even though you're detached, I mean, you're getting the benefits of this chocolate. All of that hard effort is something that tastes sweet to us. It's the good stuff. It's the thing that elevates our mood. It's the stuff that makes us feel like we're really treating ourselves. And interesting that we've got the spring that shows up. So this is, the effects of this, I believe, are, going to be felt within, I would say, the next month, because don't we have a series of eclipses? We're in eclipse season, correct?
Yeah, this is the first of the two. So the next one is June. It's 2 weeks later. I think it's about June 10.
Okay.
So that's
within
still
1
spring.
month.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And what's really interesting is the other card that I got is the Declaration of Independence, the Declaration. So in a sense, in this period that we're looking at, we are going to be looking at the independence. We are looking at our own self-rule, our own what do you want to say? Reclaiming our power. So here's that cabin energy. And with the cabin energy, it goes right along with claiming that space, claiming that independent space that we have to do all of those things that we can demonstrate in terms of productivity, and then we get that sweet outcome of the chocolate.
Yeah.
All right. So what do you think? What do you
Well,
have?
I thought it was interesting because my center card was the scuba diver, which is also a going within kind of card. So
yes, it is.
I very much got a resonance to what you had. You want to turn it back on your face, see when
yes. Thanks for the
what we can see you.
reminder.
So that's you right along there, the same kinds of energies there that you have with the cabin. The scuba diver is going within, observation, self-examination, exploring the unconscious mind. Now, these are all of the things that the moon does ask us to do. And it also says to disconnect and really tap into your desire to know, which of course, even though this is a Pisces card, that desire to know things is very much a Sagittarius type of trait, right?
Right.
So we're really, that's the energies of this moon that are calling us to do that. I have on one side of my 5 cards was the checkered flag and then the family. Now, what I was looking at this and wondering, okay, first of all, checkered flag does make sense because it's a full moon, which is a cycle completion.
Right.
And the checkered flag literally is about the final chapter, endings, the outcome, finale, a verdict, results, and conclusions. So there's something here, there's a lot of energy here for completing something in regards to family. And that could be, anybody, parents, children, siblings, but also can include things having to do with commitments, support systems, your tribe, dependability,
right,
and allegiances, maybe even just about allegiances. Maybe this is a time for us to go in and say, where is my allegiance? Where am I putting my allegiance right now? And is it time for me to fulfill and say this particular allegiance has run its course. It's time for it to end. And so I do think there's some energy for that. And again, this will read, each person maybe who's watching this can kind of, think in their own life what that would mean, what's coming to completion right now in regards to those kinds of things around family.
I've got that running through my mind right now as you say that.
Wow, very interesting.
Yeah.
Now the other side, I got the yoga card and the bonfire. Bonfire is the 1 of Sagittarius. Yoga again is going into that contemplation stage. And it says contemplation, going within, inner child healing, meditation, time alone, balancing your chakras, reflection, taking, time for your own wellness and rest in order to fuel what's coming next. I feel like, what you were talking about, uh, eclipse seasons. This is the first of the two. And so, but they also talk about how eclipses have this, they have their bookends for much larger periods. So you go back 6 months before and you see, okay, where were the eclipses at that point, and we're really kind of wrapping something up from 6 months, and sometimes those cycles even go like a 2-year cycle. So and again, I haven't dug into the astrology of this, so check out some other astrology videos to see what are some possible kind of looking and book ending that we're doing at this time as we're starting this new eclipse season. Because at this, I do feel like this checkered flag is significant. I feel because this is an eclipse season that is starting with a lunar eclipse, whereas sometimes they start with a solar eclipse, which would be a new moon. This one starts with wrapping something up, which is why I started with the checkered flag. We're definitely wrapping something up first in preparation for the next eclipse 2 weeks later, which is the solar eclipse, which I feel like will be the beginning of the next cycle. So again, I'm not an astrologist. I'm just getting this from the energy here. That's where this bonfire comes in. That's a 1 of Sagittarius, the beginning of something new, new enthusiasm, new intense joy, ignition for something, sparking something, community. Because you think about a bonfire, I have a big pile of stuff to burn in my backyard. And I've been waiting to get around to burning it. And I'm thinking, okay, this is when I need to do it. But I also want to do it when I can have other people over to celebrate that with me, because that's what we do around a bonfire, right? So you're going to, thinking about getting things going and sharing ideas, but that's kind of coming next after this moon. So go ahead and take the time to go within, wrap things up, and then it's going to prepare you for that spark of what's coming next.
Perfect. So what do you want to look at next?
Well, we could maybe dig a little deeper into some of the energies around that, or maybe we could talk about what is coming next. I don't know. Either one.
Well, I would like to find out a little bit more about, we've had a lot of, I want to say over the last several years, a lot of us have been in the going within, detaching from outcomes and things like that. I'd like to find out if this launches a period of time where there's any more kind of collaboration, because I know that I've been seeing a lot of aloneness, but I'm interested in finding out if there's more energies that have to do with us coming out of that chrysalis and being more in union with people in general.
I would like to see that too, because I do feel that your spread was more about the going within. Mine was like starting with that going within, but then getting prepared to wrap that up and then going out. So I do want to see that, because
so maybe
I'm kind of done with the whole going within thing.
I am too, actually. I'm like, can I please go out?
I'm ready to get into the bonfire mode.
I know, me too.
Oh my gosh.
Go ahead and show the table so that I can show the cards.
And also just reminding you guys that, Sagittarius is that fire sign.
Okay,
and I'm getting all you got an eclipse. And it's an Aries. That's a
union of opposites. I think that might be my main card in this one.
There you go.
I will change the cards around. A lot of times I'll take them in the order they come out, but a lot of times I'll know instinctively, like, this is the main energy. We'll see.
Yes, I've done the same thing.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, I'm getting information. That's what I love is the information that starts.
Okay, yeah. Mine is so clear. It's freaking crazy. I got all fire signs. And the baby, which is cardinal sign, starts with Aries. So it's all about new beginnings, energy. Oh my gosh. Oh, you got the bonfire card.
I did.
Nice. And you got a community card there.
Yeah, I got a roundabout. Yep. All right, I need to kind of tune into where these cards go. Okay. You want me to go first?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously, this was definitely my card that came out that I knew was the essential card, which is what's coming to me is the union of opposites. And that's what I was trying to say. And what we were kind of talking about is that, the detaching and the getting in our own power and our space. But what's the opposite of that, right? The opposite is getting to a place where we can communicate with others. So here we've got the well, which is the deeper meaning. It is a community card, like you said. In fact, I've got 2 community cards on either side. Look at this. One is the roundabout, which is a community card. And then the well is a community card as well. So basically, on both sides of that eclipse, it's giving me confirmation that sure enough, as we start to transform, as it's like we're in an overshadowed period of time. This is a temporary, the eclipse is a temporary camouflage, okay? That on either side, we're coming into community support, keeping things flowing, going in new directions, making new communications. The well was sort of accompanied by the repairman. So it's almost like fine tuning is able to be made. Things can be tinkered with based on all of that internal work that we've done. So, yeah, so I'm kind of feeling like we're fine tuning, we're healing, we're fixing things, we're making adjustments so that we can rejoin community where we can feel more support. And then on the other side, of course, with the roundabout and community, we have that bonfire energy. So that bonfire energy is exactly what we were talking about in terms of, that let's go out and celebrate together. Look at all those people. They're together. They're in front of the water. They're celebrating the passion, the enthusiasm, the energy, the ecstasy. It's a community card as well. You see that?
And
It's a
the
third
roundabout
community card.
talks about a change in direction.
Yes.
Another thing I wanted to
Get
bring up
things
was
going.
that the eclipse card in the center is actually a solar eclipse. So I do feel like it's kind of what I was saying before, where the first eclipse of this cycle of these 2 eclipses is a lunar, which is
Right.
completing what happened before. And so now you're showing like, yes, and you said like this period of time. So I do feel like we're looking at that 2-week period of time. We're going to see a big shift, and then we're going to have that new beginning. And I actually have a new beginning card on my spread as well. So
Let me see your spread.
okay, so this
see.
is so amazing. I got like all fire signs.
You
So
did?
the first 2, I got kerosene and night.
Right.
So 7 of Aries, the one of Leo. And again, that's all that fire, that ignition, accelerating. So going back to our question was like, okay, so because like the energies that we're going through now, we were seeing all this going within and everything. But with that, I think that both of us just intuitively felt, we saw some in the cards about, it feels like that's kind of wrapping up, and it's about going out now. And that's what we're seeing there, as well as here. The kerosene is about igniting something, stimulating something. And it's very powerful, for that fuel for nights. The night is moving forward. It is motion. It's fearless, assertive, brave, determined, a champion of a cause. And so I do feel like right, and a messenger. I feel like there's going to be a lot of fuel right now that's going to be coming in literally from the higher realms to fuel us to get things going in our communities, to make changes, to and then I get this, the diamond in the middle, which is that powerful creative force. And you think, how is a diamond created? The reason it's an Aries card is created under intense heat and pressure, deep in the core of the earth, and then it comes up out of the earth like it's burst out of the earth. And so that, it's just in unconquerable force. It's multidimensional, multifaceted. And then on the other side of that, I have the another kind of a knight type of character here with the shield and the baby. So the baby is about that. It's cardinal sign. The first sign on there is Aries, but it also, all the cardinal signs, it represents beginnings. So this, we will be, after we wrap things up with this lunar eclipse, we'll be able to have that open space for the beginning. a new phase, which will help us unleash unlimited potential. There'll be rapid growth, a fresh start, and it will be very much about that guardian being prepared, warding off unwanted energies, and defending and protecting. And I go back to your card. You got the declaration, which is based on the idea of the idea behind the Declaration of Independence, which is our
Right.
own sovereign power, our own authority, standing up for what is right and what we believe in. And that's what the soldier with the shield does as well. He stands up, he protects. And so we're going to have a lot of energy, not only for community and expansion, but also to defend that of which is the most important to us, and have a fresh new start in our lives in some way.
That sounds really good to me. I am ready. I'm ready for summer. I'm ready for a vacation or something. I'm ready to get going. I'm ready to see my friends. It's like, and all those cards do seem to be, like moving out of that chrysalis into, more action.
Absolutely. And I love that they were really kicking off summer with these two eclipses that'll be happening right before summer, with that change of the season and that
Right.
ability, all of that, fire energy that does come to us from the spring and the summer are going to really, give us a lot of oomph for whatever whatever you have in your life that you want, to get moving along. I think there's gonna be a lot of energy for it. But again, this lunar eclipse right now, utilize it for going inward and wrapping something up in your life that
Right.
is like it's over and done, and it's finally, that checkered flag card I had, and it's time to wrap something up so that you'll have a fresh, clean slate for what's going to be able to come in with the solar eclipse 2 weeks later.
I would like to add something to that. I myself had been having for the last 6 months an intense motivation to change something. And without going into too much detail, what I can say is that I reached out to a very dear friend who helped me literally go back into my childhood for a release of energy that I absolutely did not even know was there.
Mm.
And what she was telling me, this is Kalina Malnar, by the way, what she was telling me is that everyone is being asked right now by the 26th to get some stuff cleared out, because what she was saying is that literally come the 26th, we're in a brand new roundabout. Okay.
Mm.
We are literally going into a new energy, and these things were extremely important to dig up and what do you want to say?
Unearth.
Uncover, reveal,
Yeah.
discover. And the really good thing about that is that the energies are doing that for us. The
Mhm.
energies are literally making it impossible to keep moving forward until you deal with it. It's like you're gonna go crazy if you don't deal with it. So whatever is happening, whatever needs to be shifted for you or people around you, that's what's happening. They're getting pushed, so that and it is like what I saw for me is it was something that happened that was a childhood circumstance, if you will, a choice as a child. And then it was also implicated over many lifetimes. So the things that are coming up for us right now in this cabin energy, this is exactly where I have been. And actually, now that I think about it, I got to the sweet stuff because I was able to find it. I was able to uncover it. And I worked very persistently and very diligently. And what I was able to do is I was able to reclaim my sovereignty, because the particular thing that it had been a decision that I made as a child of looking at a circumstance. Sometimes we think, and I'll just come right out. I will say this. We think that abandonment is an issue that we experience, especially a lot of divine feminine, if you're talking about any kind of twin flame relationships and things like that. We're always talking about how people have had these abandonment issues. In my particular case, it was a case of me feeling I abandoned someone else. Now, what's so interesting about that is that's a mirror. And here we go. That's the union of two opposites. That's a mirror. I could have just as easily as a child felt I had been the one that had been abandoned. But in my place as a child, I felt I was the one that was doing the abandoning. So you see how we have choice points, and it depends on what choice points we make, how we view that circumstance through our whole life. So when you have a core wound or core issue, sometimes it's really tricky to get to the bottom of it. But once you do and you realize I could have just as easily at that choice point decided something completely different and lived my life from that perspective, and it would have changed everything, then it's almost like that movie, The Sixth Sense, where you get to the end of the movie and you realize what the movie is about, and you go all the way back to the beginning of the movie and said, I see it from a completely different perspective now. So these are the kinds of nuggets that, don't be surprised. I really forgot about that Kalina had said this was happening by the 26th and how important it is. So it's probably a good idea, Kimberly, that we make sure that this video gets out there, sooner
Yeah.
or later.
And I just want to go
Because
back to, how it started out with the center card for your spread, the cab, and the center card from my spread, the going within the scuba diver. And that's really what we're being asked to do right now with this full moon, to go in even up until then and get it done by the time of the full moon, but utilize these energies because it's very much going to bring up whatever stuff it is that you still needed to process. And you and I had this conversation where you told me about this breakthrough. I know you very well, and it's huge, huge, huge for you. There's implications in your life, like in almost everything that are your goals and of the things that you want to achieve and do. It had a piece in there that was creating some kind of a block or interference.
Yep.
And
Yep.
when you saw what that was and you healed that by recognizing it, it shifts everything out into the future. And that's exactly
Yes.
what we have an opportunity to do
Yep.
with the, not only in our own personal lives, but on a collective level. So if you do the work yourself, there'll be that ripple effect where it's going to affect things even in an outer sense and start changing other pieces in our lives around us that I think so many of us are really, really wanting to see some major changes in.
Well, and I think that the really important takeaway from this is that, I was pressuring myself because I'd known for 6 months. That's why you were talking about the bookend energies coming before 6 months. I've been working on this issue for 6 months at least. I mean, going way back to the first of the year, and maybe even before. But the universe had a way of bringing it to me in a way that I could digest it. I had a ton of shifting to make over a period of time. And I guess the most important thing that I'd say is that you're not alone in it, that the universe and all of these astrological aspects are literally doing it for you, with you, if that makes sense. It's like
Absolutely.
literally happening to you in ways that can't help, but it's like, okay, now we've got the fry pan and now we're hitting the fry pan. Okay. And not only do we have the fry pan, now we know exactly who you need to talk to. We know
Yeah.
exactly where you need to go to get help. And it happens at the right time in the right way. And everybody's there for you when you need it or whatever. So it's not something you have to stress about, is what I'm getting. It's almost like your higher self has already lined you up for whatever this healing is that you need to go through. You're already aligned with that solution. What you can do, from becoming aware, is this is could be a catalyst for you to say, oh wow, yeah, I've had that kind of thing going on too. And that it's been bothering me for about 6 months too. And it's become unbearable for me too. And then you might find yourself going with, what can I do? And how can I move this energy as quickly as possible to free myself up for that roundabout? How can I set the intentions
And you
to,
called me up earlier that day and you're like, so feeling like you just at your absolute end of the rope and wits end, and you didn't even know what to do, to how to shift. And then you're like, maybe I need to call, my good friend, and you got a session with her. And so again, I just want to kind of, point out to our viewers here that the universe will give you whatever tools you need. Debbie needed help from an outside person to help her see this, if that's what you need, or it will give you other insights directly in order for you to move through whatever is. But I think mainly just asking for, to be shown, to be helped, guided in that process.
Well, I just want to add that it was a series of things that happened,
Mhm.
because it was a
Usually
series
is,
of
right?
things from seeing a video that made me go, oh, wow, yeah, that's where I'm at and I don't want to be there. And then literally caving down into a closed cabin situation. Like, okay, don't anyone call me, talk to me or anything, put the blanket over my head, I'm sleeping, to waking up and reaching for my phone and seeing a short Lori Ladd video that literally basically said what the situation is. And I will say this, there's one thing that she pointed out, it's very simple, is that we're at the time of getting rid of the control the ego. We are so used to dealing with the ego on an everyday basis. It's time to hand the baton off to the higher self. And that once I heard that, I'm like, okay, that makes perfect sense to me. That is what's going on. I'm being ruled by ego, with do this, don't do this, drive, whatever. Then the question then became, how do I do that? How do I do that? How do I pass that baton off? Once I realized I need help with that, and the pressures got really bad, like I got to do something, it was instantaneous for me who I needed to reach out to. And I don't know if you know who Kalina Malnar is, but she's extremely busy. She's booked months and months out, and she's a friend of mine. And I was like, do you have time for an emergency session? Bam. She literally texted me a heart back, said, I'm driving. I'm going to be home in 2 seconds. Let's get on Zoom. That's how fast these changes can happen. It's a series of things that can help you. So,
yeah, that's great. Good stuff. And when you
Good
shared
stuff.
me the details of it, it was like, there's pieces of it that I can like take for myself, as far as, even though it wasn't exactly my experience, it's like so neat and wonderful to see someone who shifted the energy of that, because that's just one more, piece of the collective that you've put a ripple out there that
Right.
is going to have an effect on, everybody on the whole entire globe at some point, like that ripple effect. So every
That's
single
the
one of us
fabric.
that does the going within, that does the digging deep, and that uses the energies right now for whatever it is that your higher self has that wants you to work on at this time, will not only benefit yourself, but all the rest of humanity. So it's exciting
Right.
stuff.
Thank you for bringing that up, because I mean, the impact of that shift and change was so huge for me, and it integrated almost immediately. So it started literally like affecting everything from that moment forward. Totally started making new decisions, totally started making seeing new perspectives, seeing from a different perspective. So I appreciate you reminding me of that, because in the context of what we're talking about here for this reading, you're exactly right. We are all fabric. We're all part of the fabric. We're all the different little strings and everything else. And each time one of us shifts, we help shift all the people around us. This is a very, very powerful time, guys. So,
Yeah.
else that
I
you
think
want
it's a good place to wrap it up. And I
Okay.
just want to say again to our viewers, thank you guys so much for, watching our channel, and subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we are going to be doing periodic live readings sometimes, and
Yes,
where you
we
can just
are.
hop on and get an actual free reading,
Yeah.
as well as other great tidbits and giveaways every now and then. And we just love to have you part of our family.
And please, if you have comments, if you have questions, we love to hear from you. So feel free to respond. Until the next time, we will say goodbye.
Bye.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Enter the Zodiac 108, the newest addition to the Intuit family of oracle and tarot cards, where spiritual and occult practices combined with scientific and technological developments, resulting in a deck that can invoke an unlimited number of concepts and ideas. This oracle offers 108 object-based images to access the subconscious mind, which sends images back via an emotional signal to a verbal cue, which is understood by your rational mind. For greater clarity and understanding, it offers a lexicon of more than 2,500 verbal words or phrases to pique your inner knowing, thereby opening clear communication between your subconscious and spiritual world with your conscious verbal mind. The Intuit Oracle Zodiac 108 gives voice to your intuition and inner knowing by filtering out the noise of conflicting emotions that would normally cloud self-understanding. And it is an effective tool that anyone can use to gain insights that will provide the information needed to make decisions, achieve goals, and obtain desired outcomes.